This is VK3CSJ in Narre Warren South. Please stand by for this morning's WIA broadcast at 9 a.m. on 1825 kHz in the 160 metre amateur radio band.
This national news edition originates from VK1WIA and is rebroadcast throughout Australia and around the world under a common licence published on the WIA website. This WIA national news service is copyright to the Wireless Institute of Australia, and rebroadcast is authorised only under the provisions of that common licence. WIA Director and Company Secretary Peter Clee, VK8ZZ.
From Australia, this is the Wireless Institute of Australia with the weekly news service. This broadcast is in text, audio and video and is accessed on wia.org.au.
In WIA National News this week, the news that serves you right, WIA Director and President Scott Williams, VK3KJ. Roger Harrison, VK2ZRH, Manager of the VHF-UHF Field Days, and cables damaged, stolen from Taiwan to Townsville. But wait, there's much, much more in this edition of news from your Wireless Institute of Australia. And it's for week commencing Sunday, January 18, 2026. I'm Editor Graham, VK4BB.
This is your WIA News. Often imitated, never duplicated.
This is WIA Director and President Scott Williams, VK3KJ, and welcome to the WIA broadcast this week. This week, I have some really exciting news to share. The WIA has entered into a commercial binding agreement with the Radio and Electronics School known as RES, owned and operated by Ron Bertrand. This agreement will see the WIA take over the Radio and Electronics School, which is well known as being Australia's premier online resource for those seeking to begin a career in radio or electronics. The Radio and Electronics School has had a long and proud association with the WIA, servicing all states and territories through its network of volunteer facilitators and administrators. And in fact, since the Radio and Electronics School was established by Ron Bertram in 1997, several thousand students have enrolled and completed various courses through the school. The WIA sees this opportunity as a tremendous way to help new entrants into amateur radio and provide affiliated clubs with a wonderful online resource that will help drive participation through clubs. On behalf of the board, I want to thank Ron Bertrand for his service to amateur radio. The agreement with the WIA is a wonderful way of protecting and preserving the legacy of the Radio and Electronics School, something that Ron should be very proud of for what he has achieved. Ron will continue to support the Radio and Electronics School in the short and medium term, and it will be business as usual. Long term, the WIA will consult affiliated clubs on how this resource can best be applied and embedded within clubs, and importantly, drive the next generation of amateur radio operators. The WIA will release further information in the coming weeks via our website, social media platforms, and an article in the Amateur Radio magazine. That's it for me this week, and this has been Scott Williams, WIA President, on behalf of the board for this week's news broadcast. Best wishes.
Australiana. A vandal has cut fibre cables in far north Queensland in a suspected copper theft, impacting telecommunications in the region as it braced for the incoming cyclone. Premier David Crisafulli slammed the theft at Deeragon, a suburb on the outskirts of Townsville, calling the person responsible a lowlife who has put citizens' lives at risk in a time of need. We intend to make sure we throw the book at this individual when they are caught. It's a pretty low act at any time, but during a disaster, that's about as low as one can go. Telstra confirmed mobile and NBN services in Mount Low, Bluewater, Black River and Saunders Beach had been affected. Optus also experiencing an outage at Mount Low, and an NBN spokesperson confirmed approximately 5,000 customers had been impacted. Technicians were working to restore the network. Copper theft is a significant international issue that affects all service companies, including Telstra, said the telco's regional general manager, Rochelle Cliff. The impact of copper theft on customers can be significant, and despite our best efforts to repair and restore services quickly, businesses, individuals and critical community services can be disconnected for hours or even days. Meanwhile, free-to-air television radio services across central Victoria face prolonged disruptions after fire severely damaged transmission infrastructure on Mount Alexander. The two transmission sites on Mount Alexander, which broadcast free-to-air television and FM radio, including ABC local radio, were badly damaged by a fast-moving grass fire that swept through Harcourt. The blaze has razed 3 businesses and at least 47 homes. Broadcast technicians travel to Mount Alexander as soon as safe to do so to assess the damage and develop a short-term plan to reinstate services. A portable transmitter has now been installed in Bendigo to restore ABC local radio on 91.1 FM. Satellite imagery is now revealing the extent of the damage from Victoria's bushfires, which have scorched 404,000 hectares. That's more than 5 times the size of Singapore. 5 times. More than 500 structures, including 179 homes, have already been lost in the state's bushfires, and insurers have received nearly 1,400 claims. Authorities say 11 fires remain active, with crews taking advantage of milder weather to strengthen containment lines and backburn. Further dangerous conditions are forecast for January 23 and 24, with some fires expected to burn for weeks.
From here, there and everywhere, you've tuned to the Wireless Institute of Australia's National News Service. We are VK1WIA. Now with international news, Jason, VK2LAW.
Hello. Leading international news this week, a Chinese national has been sentenced to 3 years in prison for damaging an undersea cable connecting Taiwan's main island and the Penghu Islands in the Taiwan Strait. The man was the captain of the Togolese-registered vessel Hong Tai 58. The Tainan District Court's verdict marks the first sentencing after reports in recent years of undersea cables around Taiwan being severed. Taipei has accused Beijing of sabotaging its cables, describing it as a grey zone tactic to pressure the self-ruled island, which China claims as its territory. Taiwan has 10 domestic and 14 international undersea cables. In Taiwan, a non-profit civil defence group, GongQ, has started training people on how to communicate using amateur radio if the internet is unavailable. A ban on imports into the US now means that only American-made drones with American-made parts may be sold there, following action by the Federal Communications Commission, citing the potential of national security risks. The agency's move follows an executive order from the White House in June banning unmanned aircraft systems and their parts. The executive order, known as Restoring American Airspace Sovereignty, stated that the move also has the goal of boosting drone manufacture in the US for use there and for export to the global marketplace. The ban is expected to have far-reaching effects on drone sellers as well as their customers. Drones are widely used by first responders, farmers, business owners and hobbyists. The ban affects only new products that are not already available in the US. Meanwhile, as of January 1st, the landscape for drone operators has also changed in the UK. Under new Civil Aviation Authority regulations, each drone to be sold must carry class marks that reflect compliance with that particular aircraft's technical and safety standards. A remote ID is also required to transmit the drone's identification and its location while airborne. The new regulations apply to drone use by hobbyists as well as professionals. The class-based regulations do not apply to drones purchased before the 1st of this year. The CQ Amateur Radio Hall of Fame is seeking nominations for the 2026 class of inductees. 3 nominations will be inducted in 2026. The CQ Amateur Radio Hall of Fame was established in January 2001 to recognise those individuals, whether licensed radio amateurs or not, who significantly affected the course of amateur radio, and radio amateurs who, in the course of their professional lives, had a significant impact on their professions or on world affairs. Nominations may be sent to k8cx@hamgallery.com. The US Supreme Court has decided to hear a case that puts the FCC's entire system for imposing fines under constitutional scrutiny and could dramatically redefine how the agency enforces rules on pirate radio, EAS compliance, and broadcast operations. At issue is whether the Communications Act allows the FCC to levy civil penalties without first providing a jury trial in an Article 3 court. FCC versus AT&T follows a Fifth Circuit ruling that vacated a $57 million fine against the communications giant, finding the Commission's internal forfeiture process unconstitutional under the 7th Amendment and Article 3, even though companies can later challenge unpaid fines in federal court. President Trump first threw his support behind a bill that would require AM radio in passenger vehicles when he took the stage at the 2024 NRB International Christian Media Convention. "I will do my part to protect AM radio in our cars," Trump told Christian broadcasters at the time. Now the president is recommitting to that pledge. "I like the AM in every car bill," Mr. Trump said a few days past in an interview with Salem Radio Network's Hugh Hewitt. "I'm in favour of it. It's interesting. A lot of people don't know about that, but it's actually a very big subject, a huge deal, and we're going to be doing something on that." During his earlier appearance at the NRB convention, Trump acknowledged that AM radio was a critical outlet for his base. For WIA National News, in Sydney, I'm Jason, VK2LAW.
We are VK1WIA. Now, operational news with VK4FUQ. Felix.
VHF UHF Field Day, January 3 and 4.
This is Roger Harrison, VK2ZRH, manager of the VHF UHF Field Days. With the 2026 summer event done and dusted, for all those who took part, answered CQs and worked a bunch of stations, every other participant would appreciate you submitting a log, even if you only made 10 contacts. So, get that log submitted. It's easy because it's automated by using the online VK Contest Log Checker. How to do it is in the rules. But before you do, make sure that we can identify that it's your log. Please ensure that you have your name, call sign, location and 6-character grid square all entered correctly. Today is the deadline. Get your log uploaded before midnight Australian Eastern Standard Time. Get cracking. For those who used VKCL for logging, be sure to convert the exported log into Cabrillo format using the conversion application that you can download from the VK Contest Log Checker website. Only submit your Cabrillo formatted log. Thanks to all those who have already submitted logs. Most appreciated. And thanks also for the soapbox remarks. Once again, today is the deadline. Get your log uploaded before midnight Australian Eastern Standard Time. Get cracking!
Ross Hull, all January. 17-18 January, this weekend, the North American SSB QSO Party. January 2026 AX Day Contest. January 26 Monday only. February 21 and 22 ARRL DXCW. March Jock White Memorial Field Day. February 28 Saturday 1500 hours to 2400 hours NZDT, and Sunday March 1 0600 hours to 1500 hours NZDT. 40 and or 80 metres phone SSB and or CW 100 watts PEP maximum. March 7 and 8 ARRL DXSSB. March 15 BERU. March 21 and 22 John Moore Memorial Field Day. New rules for 2026. Now let's open the DX window to the world. It's to Cleveland, Ohio first. Case Western Reserve University's Case Amateur Radio Club, W8 EDU, recently became the first collegiate club to receive the ARRL DXCC Trident Award. This prestigious amateur radio award recognises confirmed contacts with amateur radio stations in at least 100 different foreign countries, on each operating mode: radio telegraphy, radio telephony and digital communications. This represents a substantial engineering and operating skill achievement, said David Kasdan, Faculty Advisor and Adjunct Assistant Professor of Electrical Engineering. Student operators put in a mighty great deal of time making all these three thresholds. The contact that took us to this mark was Station 204K in St. Barthélemy, radio telephone on the 15-metre band. The DARC team SES are active as DH 2026 EM between the 10th of January and the 10th of February during the Men's European Handball Championship, being co-hosted by Denmark, Sweden and Norway. Harold DF2WO will be active again as 9X2AW from Rwanda, starting 22 January 2026 until the 8th of February 2026. He will operate on 160 to 6 metres CW, SSB, digital modes and QO100 satellite. Portuguese Broadcasters Network, REP, has announced an activity open to all its members across Portugal, running until 31 December using the special call sign CT100REP. This year-long collective activity celebrates the 100th anniversary of the founding of the REP, Portugal's IARU Society. Operation is across various HF, VHF and UHF bands using multiple modes: SSB, CW, digital and satellites. Those magnificent men in their flying machines. 100 years ago, Plus Ultra was the flying boat which completed the first transatlantic flight between Spain and South America. This, January 1926. Marking the centenary of that event, Cartagena Ham team members are active as AO5PU, now until 25th January. QSL via EA5GTU. For WIA National News, I'm Felix VK4FUQ Inningham.
From here, there and everywhere, you've tuned to the Wireless Institute of Australia's National News Service. We are VK1WIA. Now, special interest group news.
Hi, I'm Graham, VK3GRK from sunny Bendigo. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Astronomy and Wireless Weather. NASA marks 50 years of GOES satellites. NOAA's Geostationary Operational Environmental Satellites, or GOES program, started a revolution in meteorology and weather forecasting. With GOES-1, satellite-sourced weather data could be sourced without waiting for the satellite to pass overhead. Previous satellites could only provide data at the times they were passing overhead. The first 3 GOES satellites carried an instrument called a Visible and Infrared Spin Scan Radiometer, or VISA. This instrument enabled meteorologists to collect a wider range of data, as well as a fuller set of data than ever before. GOES-1 went up in 1974, with the next 2 arriving in the next 5 years. The second generation of GOES satellites added important weather observation instruments. With these, our understanding of phenomena such as El Niño and tropical storms improved greatly. Furthermore, beginning with GOES 7, an RF receiver was added as part of the Search and Rescue Satellite-Aided Tracking, or SARSAT system. The current generation of GOES satellites, known as GOES-R, added a variety of capabilities. These satellites feature the ability to narrow in and zoom out from local to global views with a choice of scan rates. Fire detection instruments were added for the first time ever on a geostationary satellite. Many hobbyists enjoy receiving direct L-band downlinks from these satellites. Worldwide Special Interest Group News. Summits on the Air, Worldwide Fauna Program, Parks on the Air and other adventure groups. Parks on the Air, or POTA, is, of course, the amateur radio activity that encourages operators to set up portable stations in parks and make contacts from the field. The YL POTA Party is an exciting way for women of all ages to experience portable operating, learn by doing and enjoy time on the air together. YL POTA parties are held each year around International Women's Day, with gatherings planned worldwide to celebrate women's contributions to radio and their involvement in the hobby. International Women's Day 2026 is officially on Sunday, March 8th, 2026, but many events will occur on the preceding 2 days, Friday, March 6th and Saturday, March 7th. One YL POTA party we have seen will be on air Saturday, March 7th from Pineway Ponds Park along the Erie Canal in Spencerport, New York. So, March 6, 7, 8, keep your ears tuned and your walking shoes ready. Worldwide Special Interest Groups Digital. VK amateur radio operators have partnered with commercial networking experts Kern Wi-Fi to build an enterprise-grade network of linked repeaters. The network of repeaters utilises Yaesu's multi-site repeater system, or IMRS technology, to route repeater traffic over a secure internet link. Phil Kern, VK5PK, in a report on Amateur Radio Daily, says the goal was straightforward. Deliver IMRS over an IP fabric that behaves like a carrier network with predictable routing, strong isolation, and security you can audit. If we treat community infrastructure with enterprise discipline, reliability follows. Worldwide Special Interest Groups Final Frontier. The small Balkan nation of Montenegro finished 2025 by taking a history-making step into space with the launch of its first satellite. Weighing just under 2 kilograms, the 1U CubeSat began its journey on the 28th of December aboard a Soyuz carrier rocket from Russia's new Cosmodrome near the border with China. A project of Montenegro Space Research, it is designed to collect data for transmission back to Earth. On board are a high-resolution camera, solar panels, and a variety of sensors, all designed to function throughout the satellite's 3-year mission in low Earth orbit. Montenegro's Amateur Radio Association announced that it received its first telemetry signals from the satellite on the 31st of December 2025. This satellite has been named Lucha, which is Montenegrin for light. The Hubble Space Telescope, which has radically changed our understanding of the universe for more than 3 decades, is nearing the end of its mission. Due to atmospheric drag, its orbit is steadily decreasing, threatening to burn up in Earth's atmosphere. According to new calculations presented at a meeting of the American Astronomical Society, this could happen as early as 2033, and in a pessimistic scenario, even as early as 2029. Launched in 1990 at an altitude of about 579 kilometres, the Space Telescope has fallen more than 50 kilometres over the years of its service. Although NASA periodically adjusted the observatory's orbit, the main factor is atmospheric drag. The density of the upper layers of the atmosphere varies depending on the activity of the Sun. The current period of high solar activity is accelerating the fall. If the altitude falls below 400 kilometres, there will be only a year left before the final entry into the atmosphere. A live satellite communication demonstration with the International Space Station was successfully conducted in Pransla village, Gujarat, India, on 29th of December 2025, with more than 12,000 students assembled. The live science and space outreach program was conducted with the active support of AMSAT India and Upagrah Amateur Radio Club at Indian Space Research Organisation's UR Rao Satellite Centre. Basic concepts like ham radio, satellite communication, uplink and downlink, azimuth, elevation, frequencies, etc., and satellite tracking were explained so students could understand the upcoming live ISS pass. 3 confirmed two-way contacts were made during the single ISS pass before what may be one of the largest crowds ever assembled for a satellite demonstration. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Islands on the Air. IOTA number Sierra Alpha 036. Matthias Delta Lima 4 Mike is on the air as Papa 4 0 Alpha Alpha from Aruba. IOTA number Sierra Alpha 036 from the 11th through to the 29th of January, and his operations will include the CQ Worldwide 160 metre CW contest. Outside the contest, listen for him using CW, SSB and FT8 on 160 to 10 metres. IOTA number Alpha Sierra 003. 4 Sierra 7 Kilo Golf, Sri Lanka. Peter Delta Charlie 0 Kilo is currently active again as 4 Sierra 7 Kilo Golf from Sri Lanka. IOTA Alpha Sierra 003. IOTA number Alpha Sierra 013. Delta Sierra 1 Tango Uniform Whiskey will be active holiday style as 8 Quebec 7 Juliet India from the Maldives. Alpha Sierra 013, 18th to the 24th of January. He will operate mainly FT8 with some CW and single sideband on 80 to 10 metres. QSL via Club Logs OQRS, Logbook of the World, or direct to home call, which again is Delta Sierra 1 Tango Uniform Whiskey. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Rescue Radio. A mother and her child stranded deep in the dense Stanislaus National Forest in California late last week left a trail of handwritten notes that helped their rescuers find them, officials announced this week. On July 11th, the 49-year-old woman and her 9-year-old son travelled from the Sacramento area to Camp Wolfeboro for an overnight camping trip, officials with the Calavera County Sheriff's Office said in a news release. The mother and son were found about another mile from the second note. The crew then used a ham radio to report back to a command post. After broadcasting emergency traffic via amateur radio, their call was immediately answered by a retired El Dorado County Communications Supervisor who was a ham operator monitoring frequencies from his home, officials said. This operator then contacted the El Dorado 911 Centre, which provided the information to Calaveras Dispatch, and the Search and Rescue Command Post was notified. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Software for Hams. An Arizona radio amateur has issued a call asking fellow hams to turn their efforts toward making digital mode software such as WSJT-X more accessible to sight-impaired hams. Software builders and tinkerers are being sent a special message from November Uniform 7 India on behalf of radio amateurs like him who are blind or have low vision, keeping them from enjoying some digital modes. One of the gifts that Daryl, November Uniform 7 India, has provided to users of contemporary technology is his blog, Blind Access Journal. As an advocate for people who are blind, like Daryl, or perhaps challenged by low vision or obstacles posed by ageing, he has developed his blog to provide resources to developers, decision-makers and other consumers of technology so they can make the modern world more accessible to everyone. Daryl says that the increasing popularity of digital modes has made it harder for hams with disabilities to participate fully because an accessible user interface is missing from the software. He said that because WSJT-X is open source, it provides an opportunity for collaboration for improvements in keyboard navigation, screen reader support, and overall usability. He hopes his blog can be a place where advocates, developers, and users can brainstorm. To volunteer or simply to learn more, contact Daryl on this email, editor@blindaccessjournal.com. I'm Graham, VK3GRK from sunny Bendigo.
It's a date, and we have a new one on the social scene. Don't forget, clubs are welcome to email text along with audio for this section. Just send it to nationalnews@wia.org.au. Now, Reese will be holding a huge amateur radio car boot sale, 11 a.m. today, Sunday the 18th of January. VK3, the Ballarat Amateur Radio Group's Hamvention, happens Sunday, February 1. VK6 Pargfest, held at the Mandurah Bowling Club, February the 7th, 9 a.m. Redfest in VK4, to be held at Deception Bay North State School, 9 a.m, April 11. The WIA AGM May 2 at 2 p.m. Albury VK2 couples with the ICOM VK Summit 2026, also May 2 and 3. And the new one for VK5ers, Adelaide's Amateur Radio and Electronic Club Car Boot Sale at Dogs SA Showground, Cromwell Road, Kilbourne at 10 a.m. for buyers, November 21. Now, until next we meet, I'm Editor Graham, VK4BB. Walk softly.
From Australia, this has been the Wireless Institute of Australia with the weekly news service. This broadcast is in text, audio and video and is accessed on wia.org.au.
Courtesy of Bevan, VK5BD's ATV and YouTube channel, this has been WIA National News. We're back now, live and local, and your voice, your callbacks. And don't forget, tick like.